This is our world, the only planet in the universe where we have been able to find life so far. Plenty of living beings such as microorganisms, animals, plants, among others are living here in kilometers and kilometers of land. But wait, we haven't spoken about humans yet. Who are humans? Human beings are the most representative species in the world. However, humans present differences depending on the place of provenance, the origin, or the gender. Nevertheless, all of us should have the same rights and obligations due to the fact that we all belong to the same species. This is what I expect of my society in the future. Unfortunately, in spite of this, the situation in our world isn't like that. Nowadays, discrimination is quite typical in our society, but overall, I would like to stand out woman discrimination.
In the world, we live nearly 7,000 million people. It's a huge quantity, isn't it? Yes, I think so. Luckily, our world is so enormous that each person is able to find a place to live. People come from different parts of the world: China, France, Morocco, United States, Spain. But who are the majority? Women. We represent 52% of the whole population. However, in spite of this, we are still discriminated. We are considered inferior to men, and this is a reason that explains our daily battle. Currently, there are plenty of countries where women suffer from discrimination. On the one hand, in some countries, mutilation is still enforced, just like in Africa, Asia, and the Middle East. Female genital mutilation is a practice that consists of the elimination of some or all the external genitalia. Its goal is to get rid of the female sexual pleasure. This ritual is carried out due to religious matters, beliefs, or culture that dominate in these regions. Besides, sexual exploitation and trafficking are other typical problems that thrive in some countries too. Mafias from developed countries promise women from underdeveloped countries a better quality of life in exchange for prostitution. Women blindly believe in these mafias, and that is why they accept to prostitute. However, mafias don't keep their word, and as a consequence they traffic with women, keeping them in bad conditions, while those men are earning huge amounts of money at their expense. Mafias use women as sexual objects, not as people. That is called white slave trade. On the other hand, immolation is a ritual that consists on sacrificing people or animals in honor of God. This ritual has taken place in many countries for a long time, especially in India. Women were the most disadvantaged, concretely widows. They were burnt in a bonfire accompanied by her deceased husband. Fortunately, these types of rituals are forbidden nowadays, although widows and single women continue being cruelly stigmatized, meanwhile widowers have the chance to get married again. All in all, woman discrimination not only takes place in underdeveloped countries, it also occurs in developed countries. For instance, women receive lower incomes than men in spite of being performing the same job. Besides, numerous studies show that the employment rate has been lower in women than in men over the last decades. Moreover, it's much more usual that women execute their roles in shores as housewives than men, who are responsible for making a living for the benefits of the whole family. Actually, in our society, we normally witness sexist situations, just like gender violence, rapes, murders against women, men deciding on the clothes that women must wear, even girls that have to run away from their country due to the discriminatory situation they are living, likewise other girls that are killed for reclaiming their rights. We normally hear of these situations from the news. However, we don't do enough to improve this situation for the women. Unfortunately, we are used to hear that sort of news. But what do you think about this situation? What sort of society would you like for your future daughter? Well, from my point of view, I dare to say that people, as much women as men, have to carry on struggling to get gender equality. Although I have to say that women have achieved many goals along the years. We're much more valued now than in previous ages, and that's true. If we traveled in time to prehistory, we would realize that women and men had the same rights. They both participated in tasks
and women took part in making decisions due to the fact that in that period of time, survival and reproduction were vital and essential. However, the Neolithic Revolution supposed to before and an after to women. They were considered inferior to men. They were used in reproduction and they were at home doing chores and caring for children. In contrast, they weren't allowed neither to work nor to vote. Fortunately, nowadays, society has improved considerably, as I have said before. Now, women have been introduced in the work life and they have the right to vote in the same way that they can take part in politics and govern a country. For all this reason, we have to try to achieve a goal, which is gender equality.
We don't want any privileges, but some opportunities and rights. It's evident that men and women are unequal, yes, and I know. There are some qualities that are typical of men, such as strength, and others that are typical of women, like flexibility. However, these differences cannot be the basis for defining our rights and obligations. Men and women are humans, and all humans deserve to be treated in the same way. We have to break with some barriers and patterns which are deeply established in our society. Some of them are colors, pink for women and blue for men. Feelings, we're accustomed to hear that men don't cry. Several situations such as girls play with dolls and boys with cars and trucks. A flirtatious boy is a tough guy, meanwhile in the case of a woman, she's a trumpy. With all these arguments, I'm not disraising men, since they are as much important as women, so for this reason I consider that we have to continue struggling to succeed and get gender equality.
To sum up, I would like to add that what I really want for my future society is a society without gender discrimination, neither against women nor men, with a government that guarantees penalties over those who don't respect or mistreat a person for the sake of gender. If we have to achieve this goal, we have to start acting now and make people aware of the situation straight away. As I see it, this is an important issue and our gender mustn't be an impediment to define our happiness, since all humans have the same qualities and capacities. In short, the only thing that makes us different is a tiny trifle.